All right, welcome. It's the 162nd episode of the Mina's House podcast. I'm Mina SayWhat.
Garnett, Briscoe.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Stuckey, like I'm at this point, you should never be muted on Zoom. You should know better now. So Dexter, Stuckey, I'm here.
Guys, so I'm excited. We have a guest joining us, Adam Blackstone. Adam is incredible. He's a musical director for literally probably every live show you've ever seen. Every amazing live show, whether it be on TV, whether it be in concert, in person. I believe Adam has a hand in it. So we're going to talk to him a little bit later. He's going to join us. He's going to talk about how you even get into being a music director and some of the amazing things that he's worked on musically. So he's joining us later. I'm wearing my Kobe Bryant jersey today. Well, not a jersey, but my shirt. So at the time that we are recording this, and of course we are live on Facebook, it's been a year since Kobe and Gianna passed away in that helicopter crash. I mean, I remember exactly where I was. I literally had just got to the radio station and I had to go live in Philadelphia, which is where he's from, and break this news on to people live on the radio. And it's crazy because somebody actually that day when I talked about it, somebody actually had tweeted me and said, wow, I saw this on social media and I didn't believe it until I heard you say it. So it really solidified that like people value my voice and they know that I'm not going to say something crazy. And when I said it, it was real for them. And they were like, I literally just saw this on Twitter like a second ago. And then I turned on the radio and you were talking about it. And that's how I knew it was real. And I literally cried. It was like the hardest thing I've ever had to do, talk about that and break that news, like as it happened. So I didn't even really get a chance to process. And like as a kid who grew up loving Kobe Bryant, I had his number 8 jersey. I go back to the number 8 days. It was just such a hard thing. So I can't even believe it's been a year, guys.
Yeah, I think we all like remember exactly where we were when we heard it and like how we felt and like how it like kind of like just took over like the day. And I remember for me, like my birthday is the same week of this. And I just remember thinking like, how do you celebrate your birthday when like someone you admire, like literally all your life is like passed away with their child in a helicopter. And it's just like, every day after that, like you heard a different story from a different person. Even the day of, it was like there were so many confusing and conflicting stories that I just remember being like, I can't be on social media at all. Like I can't do it. And like, it's weird because I feel like I'm in a better space now than I was then in regards to this. But like it's one of those things you just never forget.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it still hurts. Not only was he a beloved, person and basketball figure, but he also was on there with children, and he was on there with other parents, and they was just living their everyday life, and I think that's what is kind of a little scary and a little airy to people still to this day. He just was living his normal life, and he passed with others, and the people that are still here still have to live with that. And that's stuff that I thought about today, is just when I thought about the whole Kobe Bryant situation, is really just the people that are still here dealing with it, his loved ones, the other people that were on a helicopter, their loved ones,
right,
answering questions. And we all have had someone pass in our life, and that day is always going to be tough. But can you just imagine how it is on this platform where, ESPN is covering it, we're talking about it, just about everybody, has this at the front of their mind.
Right.
My heart, really just goes out to the family today. So,
yeah. So besides that, let's get into what's going on in our feed. Dexter, Ashanti, Keyshia Cole, this was your night. I saw your shirt. You, Ashanti's #1 fan. I actually think Ashanti won. I mean, Ashanti beat Keyshia. I believe that.
Define think. Like, what do you mean think?
Well, there was some I was skeptical going into it, you know, but I think Keyshia's attitude really diminished for me her performance. And that's why I'm saying I think Ashanti won, because I went into it thinking Keyshia's vocals are so different from Ashanti's, you know, and I think that Keyshia's vocals are stronger. So I thought this was going to be a blowaway, but her attitude ain't stronger. So
voice ain't neither. Look, for me, the craziest thing about the versus battle is that it started so late. Like, we were prepared to, I don't know why y'all were prepared for 8 o'clock, because, you know, and never on time. So I don't know why y'all were prepared for 8 o'clock. I knew it wasn't going to start at 8 o'clock. I didn't think that it would be damn near 9 o'clock before it started, though. But I will say, I remember sitting there, I had my drink, and I was sitting there, and I was like, yo, Ashanti's like my favorite artist besides Drake. Ashanti's my favorite artist of all time. She's literally on a stage, a big platform, and performing a private concert for me the week before my birthday. And I'm just like, God does not play when it comes to me. Like, that was God. That was a blessing for me. I remember I was sitting in my living room, and it's so great that it was just me by myself, because I was in there rocking with you, dancing and whatnot. I'm like, nobody knows these songs except for me. I know nobody knows those songs. I'm the only person who knew those songs, and I was in heaven. Like, I loved it.
So all 600,000 of the rest of us on the live, we wasn't there watching her do these unknown songs, which I knew a couple of them, not all of them, but I knew a couple of them.
Every word to what album was on, when it was released, what she was wearing in the video. I knew everything. I know. You ever have a moment that you know everybody else is there, but you just feel like it's just for you? That was that. Before Keyshia came, that was the verses for me. I was just like, I can die happy now. I'm good.
Yeah, I was completely shocked, and I actually thought about you, Dex, when I was watching the verses, that I knew we was gonna have this moment where Keyshia Cole tried to sing, and her voice cracked a little bit, a lot of bit, and you know, I don't know what she was doing beforehand, but that really like took her energy for the rest of the night, because she wasn't trying to perform the songs the way that she could or the way that she wanted to. And Ashanti just kept killing stuff, man. Every time, you know, the mood to kind of get somber and go down or something that happened, here she come with another banger. And she's singing. She's even singing Keyshia songs. Like, you know, she's showing off her vocals. And I was actually like really surprised by that. Keyshia must have just had an off night or something. I don't know, but that was very surprising. So I definitely had you on mind, Dex. I really did.
You know what's crazy to me though? I saw like Keyshia go live afterwards. I saw Swiss and Timberlake go live. Keyshia didn't think she had an attitude. And then I seen people in her comments talk about, you ain't have an attitude. Define attitude.
He came in like, turn my mic up. Where my drink at? Why y'all looking at me like this? Sit down. Where's Ashanti? Oh, she's there. It's like,
that's a good point too. So,
wait, but is that a boss thing or is that an attitude thing?
That was complete attitude. You came in with an attitude, like late too, with an attitude. Imagine somebody coming to work, which we all know that person. You come to work an hour late and you upset. How you upset? You had an hour extra of sleep. Like,
nah, yeah, she I don't know if it was attitude or not, but I feel like in this verses, when the people take it a little too seriously, like an hour late is a little crazy. Like, you could be 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, an hour late. You was taking this entirely too seriously. You still allowed to have fun, Keyshia. Yeah. Come on time, have some fun. Don't get nobody no attitude, and you know, let's rock out. But yeah,
I didn't get it, girl. I'm like, you didn't like do this before. Like, I think she was probably very into what she was wearing and her physical appearance, and then when she got on to the stage, I think that she realized, oh, this looks crazy. And then she had to fix that. That should have been fixed before you even sat in the chair, girl. You should have sat in the chair and sound checked or something and sat there to see what you look like. How do you want it positioned? What is the lighting? So that's really what the issue is. She spent way too much time on what she looked like. And this is just my hypothesis. And then you get there and you sit down and you realize it sounds and looks a mess. And now you got to fix that. That should have been handled before you did your makeup.
You want to know why though? it's because Doritos didn't cut her a check.
She didn't get no money for the verses. But I will say this though, and this is the not engaged man in me. I was just waiting all night long for a nipple to pop out for Keyshia. Like, all night long. I'm just like,
Dex.
Come on. Like she was leaning over. When she did the Sean Paul song, she did the wine. I said, oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Yo, you crazy. Well, I will say I enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed the music. I was surprised when I was watching Timberland's live with Swiss Beats afterwards. Timberland was like, I wasn't aware that both of them had this many hits. I was like, what rock are you under, bro? How you a music producer and you didn't realize they had all those hits?
Also, didn't you book them?
I think it's Swiss who's maybe putting it together a little bit, at least that one. So, yeah, and Swiss was talking about how everybody got a different personality, and you really got to deal with that with the verses, dealing with these different personalities. I mean, think about the personalities we've seen. Sean Garrett, like who's dealing with that? What's the boy that had the messed up sound?
Gucci Man alone is just like that man was all over the place doing his
Gucci Man. What's the man that had the Wi-Fi? Teddy Riley.
Like,
right. So imagine having to deal with all those personalities, and you got to deal with that, and then the rest of it. So apparently they're planning Valentine's Day verses, and then Timberland on an interview was saying that Drake wants to see Justin Timberlake and Usher.
Wow.
Wait, Drake is putting in. I'm thinking when you said Drake wants to see, I'm like, oh, who he wants to do a versus with Lil Wayne? Like, who does he want to? Right. He's putting in people he wants to see. Drake, shut the hell up. That's how you an artist talking about who you want to see. We want to see you. You don't tell us who you want to see.
You know what? I don't think we'll ever see Drake do it.
Yeah, you're too good to do it, but you're going to pick a bunch of other people to do it. Get out of here.
That's exactly what he said. So we'll see what the next one is. All right, moving on. Trey Songz. So we were all taken back when we saw that there was some police brutality going on at the Chiefs game, right? We didn't have no backstory. But I remember when I saw the video, I'm like, Trey is bold. He punched the cop in the head and then put the dude in the headlock. And I was like, wow, what happened to lead up to this? And it's funny, when I first saw the video, I was like, why he ain't got a mask on? He around all these people, they scuffling, basically is what they're doing in the stands, and you don't got a mask on. So then, lo and behold, afterwards, we find out that the reason why the cops came over in the first place was because he did not have a mask on. There were people at the Chiefs game, which is a playoffs game, in the back. They felt uncomfortable. You over there yelling and screaming and sneezing and stuff. Your germs is coming up. The wind is blowing it all up in my face. I would complain to security too. Security go over and then they're like, sir, you got to put your mask on. These are the COVID rules when you're in an arena, in an open space with other people. He refuses. They call the cops and the cops come and try to remove him. And then he ends up putting them in a headlock. Do you think all of this should have happened because he didn't have a mask on?
I mean,
Yep.
I think COVID Songz needs to chill. Like, enough is enough. Like, COVID Songz is the same person who in October, I believe it was, had COVID.
Right.
He turned around in maybe it was like December, January. It had a large concert with a bunch of people there. You don't care. You don't care about COVID. You're one of those people who just think, I guess you think it's not real, even though you've had it.
Right.
You have a young son at home. Like, you're trash. Like, there's no redeeming qualities with that. To be honest with you, even the fact that you would even go to an arena during COVID, it's just like, how entitled are you? Like, there's no respect for me when it comes to that one anymore.
How about you, Garnett?
So I'm trying to just make sure, fact check something, right? Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Trey Songz have like a little issue back in Kansas City where like one of the players thought that, the woman cheated on him with Trey Songz and he ended up like murdering her or something like that?
Murdering?
Huh?
Did you say murdering?
Yeah.
I can fact check that for you. I don't think that's true.
So I just want to make sure I'm talking about because if I am correct, why is he back in Kansas City?
Trey Songz, the singer, you said murdered somebody?
No. He didn't. So apparently the football player accused his girlfriend of.
I did read that.
Trey Songz, and he ended up murdering the girl and himself, I believe.
I remember reading that. Yeah, Hayes Mosley, murder-suicide. He accused her of an affair with Trey Songz. Yes, I remember. Earl Hayes, the man who cops say shot his famous wife to death Monday and then killed himself, was haunted by her infidelity. In particular, he said she was having a fling with singer Trey Songz. Wow, I remember this.
So it's like, I don't know, people are entitled to live their lives, especially, if things aren't true and it didn't go that way. But it is just a little like, you put yourself back in hot fire. It's like, what are you doing back at the Kansas City game? 1. 2, now you there literally breaking protocol. It's like these guys worked all year. They wasn't supposed to have a season. Right. So for you to actually show up to the game, and it's more than disrespectful to just the fans, it's the players on the field, because if they knew, they would try to whip your butt just like that the cops were, because that's what they out here doing. Like, you're not bigger than a playoff game because you're Trey Songz, my guy. Put your mask on, let these guys play, let everybody get home safely, because everybody, in order to get into the stadium, I'm pretty sure they had to check your temperature. These guys are playing, paying good money when they aren't supposed to be at these games. Like, the NFL are allowing some NFL stadiums to have people in them. So, just to be disrespectful towards the game like that, it's a little crazy when you paid money to be there.
I was just disappointed that you had COVID and you're out here being reckless. And, when I first saw the video, I saw people talk about police injustice and police brutality, and I did not jump there because there's been enough smoke around Trey Songz to know that he got a little bad attitude, and, he used to rap. Remember, they used to call him Trigger Trey. So he used to be a rapper. So I wanted to see the full story. And when it came out that he wasn't wearing a mask, like, bro, you deserve what you got. And you punch a cop in the face, and put him in a headlock. Like, you got some nerve, bro. Did you see the mugshot though?
He was looking stupid. Like, which
right.
One? Oh, dumb and ugly.
I was like, what kind of mugshot is this? It looks like he's on the floor. He's looking sideways. Right.
It's still it's freezing in Kansas City. Like, why wouldn't you just want to wear the mask for that? Like,
right.
Like, do people have to know Trey Songz is in the building? Like, is that the reason why we were doing this at the stadium? What's going on?
Child, I don't know, but I'm glad that they did something about it, because I want sports to come back. And people like this are the reason why, if sports does come back, they're not going to let us be in the stands. And when I talk about come back, I mean the live aspects of going to a sports show or a sports game, if we can't get this together, concerts aren't coming back. None of that, because you always going to have the people that feel like they don't got to wear a mask, and you're going to ruin it for us. Mm-hmm. So, speaking of dragging, Danileigh, I've had mixed feelings about Danileigh all week. At first I was like, girl, you dumb. But then I was like, damn, girl, they dragging you. So I've been up and down with this girl. So Danileigh is dating the baby. She puts out a song called Yellowbone. I thought that was in poor taste because literally in the song, she says he likes a yellow bone. There's been drama. The backstory to this is the baby has a baby mom, and he was with her when he first came into the industry. She's dark-skinned as he is, right? So then the rumors are that he was cheating on the baby mom, right? He got another girl pregnant. So already there's this sense within the culture that we feel bad for the baby's baby mom. He over here having babies on her. He claims they weren't together, but we already have a sympathy for that woman. Then comes Danileigh talking about, well, he likes light-skinned women. He likes yellow bones. You should already know you're going to strike a chord with people. That struck a chord with me, girl. You just made it about color. And we already feel bad for this woman. And now you talking about he likes a yellow bone, right? But then people started saying after she tried to apologize that she's not a Yellowbone. She's white. She can't say she a Yellowbone, and started calling her a colorist. What do you guys think about this?
You know, I think it's one of those things that whenever you are of a different complexion, specifically a lighter complexion, and you say certain things like, and automatically people who are darker are going to come for you. And a lot of that comes from the fact that people who are darker, especially women, have been marginalized. Like,
right.
At the beginning of history, it's always happened. Like, lighter is better. And I think we've gotten to a place where women are speaking up about that, and it's like people are fed up with it. So like, you're naturally going to get called out about that.
Right.
That's just what it's going to be. I think the issue comes in where she tried to issue an apology. Like, she's like, you know what? Like, I understand where you guys are coming from. I didn't mean it like that. But the way she did the apology and talked about how I have dark-skinned friends and this man I date is a dark-skinned man.
It's chocolate.
Just chocolate. Right. That is literally a white person saying, oh, I have a black friend. Oh, I have a black, you know, like my best friend is black. Like, no, like you don't even, she went through the process of saying that she understood what colorism is, but then turned around and was a colorist. Like, it was just like, what are you doing?
Right.
Because you date somebody who is dark skinned, that does not mean that you're not a colorist. That's like, there are white people who date black people and they're still racist.
Right.
They're made the same way that other people see them. Like, she's done a lot of things that I think have been trashed before, but I think this really kind of takes the cake. Like, you just are consistently a trashy person, and that's just what it is.
Wow, that was pretty harsh.
I don't hate a lot of people, but I yeah.
Nah,
you hate a lot of people, Dex. You be reckless on social media. You hate a couple people, Dex.
This is why you're on their blacklist, man. Wow. I just I feel a little bad for her because she felt like she had to make a statement or apology. Because where are we at in our culture where this woman can't refer to herself as a Yellowbone when other people are referring to themselves as exotic or a foreign chick, or even call myself, hey, my name's Meg Thee Stallion. That's like separating yourself and putting you on a pedestal for being a taller, thick woman. You know, so it's like at what point, you know, if a brown skinned girl does this, is this a bad thing? Is this looked at? Well, you got to hold it down for the light skin. Where in actuality, it's not really that serious. If you really want to keep the same energy, like let's say something about the people that's talking about all of these drugs, pop mollies, do this, do that. This one is just literally saying, hey, I'm yellow, whatever the guy that I'm dealing with likes me. Not even like he's preferred this kind of woman, because if you ask him, if you look at his resume, clearly he likes all women. You know, so it's literally just her stating, hey, you know, I'm light skin or whatever. And everybody else seems to have some kind of anthem. I'm not saying that this is right, but just keep the same energy across the board, because she didn't say anything that wasn't said before her, and the people before her didn't get dragged.
You know what? When she first of all, it wasn't a full song. It was a thriller. So it was a snippet, right? When she first started to tweet and say, oh, y'all can't cancel me, only God can cancel me, I already knew this was going to go left. Because I was like, girl, you're literally, I mean, you're creating a bigger mess. You know, from the beginning, she should have been like, look, I was just having a little fun. I shouldn't have done this. I didn't realize, you know, the connotations. I apologize. Back out. That's it. But I think that she really didn't come with a full apology on Twitter, you know. And then when she came with the video, to your point, Dex, she pointed out the color. That's what a colorist does.
She put the braids in her hair. Tell me about the braids, Bob.
Well, and that's what I wanted to talk about, because a lot of people were saying, well, you ain't black, you can't call yourself a Yellowbone, right? She's Dominican.
I don't get into that.
And that's where why I wanted to have this conversation. She's Dominican. A lot of Dominicans that I know identify as black, because when you look at the census, it says white, black, I think Native American, then Island Pacificer or whatever, Pacificer. I don't identify with any of those. I don't check off white, black, and mind you, race is literally a physical thing. It's a physical attribute. It's what is your tone? What is your hair? This isn't white hair. You want to tell me this is like, hello? You know? So it's like, it's not, white hair is straight. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's your skin tone, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your complexion, your hair. Is it textured? Is it not textured? So it's like for people to go on there and be like, well, she white, you can't be Yellowbone. I'm like, she's not white.
I think, like, listen to what Garnett said, although I was like not wanting to hear it. I think though, listen to what he said, like it does make me think a little bit about being backed into a corner. Like, and I think that because she's done so much that has been so annoying to so many people, I think that, like, honestly, no matter what because Megan Thee Stallion has said, like, my body's better than other women. You know what I mean? Like, Beyonce's even done it. Like, you know what I mean? If you want to see some real ass whatever, like, people do that. And actually, I don't disagree with what he said. I have to really think about it, but I don't disagree. I think that this girl, though, has been backed into a corner so much because of stuff she said. But she's been backed into a corner so much that I think she's gotten to a point where she doesn't even care if she's truly offending people because people are offending her on a daily basis. Like, she gets on the internet and people just drag her every single day. And I think that she feels like at this point where it's just like, whatever I do, y'all are going to have something negative to say about it. I'm just trying to defend myself in this situation. And I think when you're in a place of defensiveness, you say things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think she's really thinking through what she's saying. She's just so backed into a corner and trying to defend herself, and she's hurt. And she's just throwing that on everybody else. I think that's what it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, people are calling her Rachel Dolezal. You know how offensive that is? Like, say someone called me Rachel Dolezal. I'm like, I'm Spanish. What are you talking about? Like, you know, literally, I'm Hispanic and Latin if you want to look at my ethnicity and, you know, and my background. You know, my grandmother's from Spain, so I'm literally Hispanic, you know, and then my mother's Peruvian. She's literally in Latin America. So technically, Peruvians are really Native American. I don't look Native American. You know what I'm saying?
Just a little bit.
A little bit, you think? I don't look nothing like. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it really bothered me when people were like, well, you white. And I'm like, no, just because you're fair skinned doesn't mean that you could tell somebody what their race and ethnicity is.
Yeah.
Garnett, when she said, I don't have white hair, I said, what you call it?
You don't, what do you think? If I comb my hair, I have a fro. Like,
That's is funny. No, it's just, man, like I said, it's where are we at? Because, you know, to go back to what Dexter and to what you were saying, Mina, is that, you know, she's saying all of these things too because of the pressure. It's heat on her. You know, if I had any advice, you know, to her is just focus on your music at this point. You see that social media is not your best friend, so just use it as a tool. Right now, you aren't able to maneuver the way that you would like to and just post stuff and have people on your side, because it seems like every time you do speak, you're offending somebody or trying not to offend somebody so much that you're actually offensive. You know, so it's really just it's a lot of peer pressure, man. It really is.
Yeah, I was just I was very bothered by the conversation because then they drag Cardi B into this.
They always do.
Because Cardi B is Dominican. And they, you know, sometimes people talk about her and I'm like, I literally, when I was growing up, I had 2 Dominican friends and one girl had curly hair, green eyes, light skin, huge ass. My other friend, huge ass, dark skin, textured hair, brown eyes. They were both Dominican. My light-skinned Dominican friend used to say, when people used to ask her, what are you? I'm Dominican. My dark-skinned Dominican friend used to say, I'm black. You know, so it's like literally 2 people from the same place identifying completely different ways. Like there's so much colorism in Hispanic culture and Latin culture in general, you know, so it really gets under my skin.
People won't try to do research or just won't even accept the fact that it's a lot of people that's black out here. Like, it really is. There's a lot of people that has black inside of them that I guess, quote unquote, should be able to say certain things if you're counting how much black is in somebody. But, you know, a lot of people just don't know exactly where they come from because of the colorism, you know, coming up on islands where, you know, they just revere white people kind of the same way that, you know, we do here, where it's looked bad upon, you know, if you were a certain type of, you know, skin tone or something like that. I have Dominican friends that you know, they grew up low key, like almost racist, you know, like against themselves.
Yeah.
You know, black people this, black people that, but it's like you black too, and I can bet you $1,000 right now if you got pulled over or something, or the cops was looking for you, and they gave a description, your description is coming out black. So it really don't matter what you say. That's what that is. Like that's what you so.
You know what though? My Cuban friend used to say that to me, right? So I used to tell him, I'm like, well, why does your brother identify as Cuban and you identify as black when you literally have the same parents? And he used to say to me, when the cops stop me, they're not going to say that's a Cuban man. They're going to say that's a black man.
So why fight it?
Right. So he says, I just identify as black. So I just did not enjoy that at all. And I really hope that we educate ourselves when it comes to, you know, our different countries and, you know, what they represent race wise and ethnicity wise as well. So we are waiting on Adam right now. Whew, I got a little heated over that.
Question.
My blood pressure was high because people have told me I'm white. And I was like, what?
Well, Mina, if it makes you feel any better, people have told me that I'm white too.
Shut up. No disrespect, but I just don't identify that way, you know?
Question. Never mind. All right. We actually locked and loaded.
Yes. Hello, Adam. How are you?
What up?
Welcome to the podcast. It's Adam Blackstone, music director, songwriter, producer. You've worked with Justin Timberlake, Rihanna, Janet Jackson, Alicia Keys, Eminem, Nicki Minaj. The list goes on and on and on and on. You've done shows for the Super Bowl and, you know, the NFL, BET, VH1, MTV. Basically, like,
you hyping me up. That's
listen.
Good. You gotta follow me everywhere.
People gotta know. If you've seen it live on TV in concert, Adam Blackstone is responsible. Welcome, Adam, to the podcast. As you know, I'm Mina SayWhat.
Yeah, what's up, Mina? What's up, homies? I appreciate you having me. You know what I'm saying? You definitely have done your thing and continue to make an impact on radio and all over social. So I'm honored to be here, yo.
Aw. Yeah, I have my co-hosts are here, Dexter, Garnett.
Go
ahead.
Garnett, what up, G?
No.
I have a theory on the show, and you're pulling right into it. It's like anytime somebody comes on and they have any type of purple in their background, it's perfect energy, and there's purple in your background. I mean, I feel like it's on purpose a little bit.
You know what? I only have
like a little plum.
Good I only have good people, good energy on the pod, you know. Now, Adam, I felt like it was important for you to be on the pod because not only are you curating the Jazmine Sullivan national anthem at the Super Bowl coming up on February 7th.
That's right.
But I feel like every time there's a big show, you are a part of it. And I feel like more people need to know your name. Like, you have worked with so many incredible people.
It's so interesting. I had a meeting with a publicist today for the first time in a long time. And I have to be honest, Mina, and say that I never really did, or I don't do what I do for the recognition. First Super Bowl 2017, I dove into that so crazy. So when I had got an Emmy nomination for it, it really, really felt validated that I felt like my peer group, liked what I did, you know what I'm saying? And I grew up I'm 39, so I grew up in the era of like not needing social media to get a job, which is a blessing. But also it's almost like if people don't see you doing stuff, it's like, did it really happen?
Right.
And so a lot of my work, specifically the last 6 to 7 years, has been on television and film. So they get to see the work. But I work on so much more music than what people actually see. And I got to be honest and say that I'm a terrible documenter of that, because I dive into the creative part and not necessarily to get the views or the likes. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, because the people who do that, they're popular for a reason, and even their skill set can take them over because people are seeing it. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, you know, the work that I dive into is really because I'm self-motivated. You know what I mean? And it feels good though when people do recognize it and like it, for lack of a better term.
Adam, like, one thing that I thought was really interesting is that we've never met each other, but we're both a part of history together.
All right.
I realized that, like, earlier today. So I was watching the inauguration like everybody else, and I felt like this feeling, and I couldn't really explain like what the feeling was, but I felt something. And I didn't realize what it was until like almost 8-9 o'clock at night, when I heard Justin Timberlake and Ant Clemens, they sung a song. And I'm like, oh, I really like this song. Like, what is it called? Mm-hmm. And I did the Shazam, and the song was called Better Days, which you had at hand in getting that song put out. Yep. And I learned that song is the most Shazam song in history. And I Shazam the song. So we're part of history together.
Dexter will always find a loophole.
I was waiting for it.
I was like, when is this gonna come full circle?
And I gotta be honest, Dex, I actually saw your name on the Shazam roster that pushed us over to the ground world record breaking. So you actually, your Shazam was the one that sent it.
What can I say? This song is amazing. That video, that visual, like, that was like incredible, and it literally summed up everything personally that I was feeling while watching the inauguration. And like, so to see like an accolade like that, especially from somebody who like you, who's behind the scenes, like, how does that make you feel, and how do you feel about like talking about stuff like that?
Yeah, no, I love talking about, you know, music and everything I'm a part of and the things that I can do. I as a musical director, you know, it's my job to make the artist stuff hot. So it feels good that people are recognizing the artist. Ant Clemens is a Jersey boy that this was our first time being able to work directly together, even though we have so many similar friends and so many similar people that we know. I think we went to the same high school, probably years apart.
You went to Glassboro in New Jersey?
I went to Willingboro.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Willingboro, New Jersey, which is a whole nother topic, Mina, but it's like a hotbed for me of like the greatest people. I was blessed to grow up in Black excellence. I didn't know anything else. From Boys to Men to City High to, Derek Hodge and Thad Tribbett, who are bass player gods to me and to the world. To, track and field, Carl Lewis. We got, my man Sean Phillips is an NFL star. So many. Kareem McKenzie, who just won the Super Bowl. So I grew up in Black excellence, and my wife tells me it's an anomaly. I did not know I was the minority in the world until I was 17, 18 years old. And I moved to Philly and, got to college, and it was like, a little bit of a pecking order. And, I was the minority, not only at school, but just in the world. And I credit a lot of that crazy, backwards, amazing thinking to me growing up in Willingboro, New Jersey. So I said all that to say Ant is a product of that, and he has ascended. And meeting Justin in 2013, I've been able to work with him for the last 7 years very closely. So when they called me to do this, man, it was amazing. Now I must say, I did Obama's farewell concert 2016.
You're such a beast, bro. Who said I did Obama's farewell concert?
I just wanted to liken it to the same thing. It gave me that same feeling. Like I don't think people really understood, like, this man, Barack. was a figure in history. I think we took him for granted. I do think that we know that having our first Black president is a huge deal, but I'm talking about the world that he lived in at that time was not what it is right now. So I think those are some of the things that we took for granted. So being a part of the Biden-Harris inauguration, it just brought it full circle for me. I hadn't been back to the White House in this last 4 years, you know what I mean? For probably many reasons. I wasn't invited, nor did I know anybody that went and sang. So
and we didn't want to be there anyway.
So it just felt really good to be a part of that history and to have a timestamp on, you know, that's something that happens every 4 years, period. It's not a thing that happens every day. It's not the Grammys. It's not BET Awards. You know, I can't even say every inauguration is promised because, like I said, after Barack, I hadn't even been a part of anything for our government. So it was great, man. Thank y'all for watching it. Thank you for making it the most Shazammed song ever. I think it just cracked top 100 this week as well on Billboard.
Wow.
It got some big plans for that song. It's a great record that him and Justin wrote.
Yeah, I got a question. So, you know, like myself, I like a lot of 80s music. So I know I like a lot of 80s music because being at my grandma's house, you know, she loved throwing on 80s music, 70s music. So that's where I get my love from it at. So when you first, you know, got started, where did your love for music, where did that come from?
Definitely came from my dad and came from my family, extended family, growing up in church. You know, my dad is an organist, and then what we would call today a wedding band singer, my dad, but I didn't know at that time growing up, like that's what it was. He just used to be booked. He was booked and busy, like, you know, bar mitzvahs, weddings, you know, funerals, unfortunately, but like, you know, banquets and, you know, celebrations, whatever. My dad was the keyboard player, singer. So, you know, he was doing top 40 stuff at that time. So I was listening to 80s, 90s, like from hip hop to jazz to R&B to country to gospel. And so definitely growing up in a household full of music incited my love for music. I knew I was going to do something in music. I didn't really know what a musical director was. Mm-hmm. My mom was a teacher, so I thought maybe I'd teach music. I was really into video games, and then I started getting into the sonic palette of video games. So I was thinking maybe I would make music for video games. You know, that's when like NBA Live was kind of popping, and you kind of heard like Tribe Called Quest in the back, like, you know what I mean? And you kind of heard like Manny Fresh couple records in the back of the, you know, the video games and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is kind of fresh. It wasn't until I moved to Philadelphia in 2000 and had some different opportunities that I cultivated my musical director title.
So I really wanted to talk about that because you're so eclectic in what you do, right? So you play instruments, and that alone kind of opens up a lot of doors. You can either be producing or you can play background instrumentation on a record. So you can, you know, or the musical director part, you can actually put together like how the music flows into one another for things like the Super Bowl or a Nicki Minaj concert. You know, when you go to a concert, the songs don't stop. They run into each other and they transition.
Set list, man, it's a big deal.
So what does your day-to-day look like? Like, how do you decide, okay, I'm going to produce this record, or I'm going to play an instrument on this record, or I'm going to somehow, you know, fuse the music together to create a live show? Like, well, how do you separate your day?
I think it really depends on the call, who's calling, and then what I'm working on. You know what I'm saying? So I happen to be working on a lot of things television wise that are solo songs. So like an artist is performing one song here, one song there. So the segue thing is not at the forefront of my mind right now. However, I would probably say 2002 to 2012, that's all I was doing with segues, and kind of how I got known to have the show kind of keep going. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was, you know, Drake or Ye or you know, Rihanna or whatever, it was kind of like a non-stop joint, you know what I'm saying? And working with the artist on a set list and, you know, so I think it just depends on what the gig calls for, Mina. And so that's what makes it very interesting, my job title, because I am in charge of everything live music oriented. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the artist could say, I don't want any segues, and then at midnight call me back and say, you know what, I changed my mind. Let's make these 4 songs go together. You know what I'm saying? So I have to be prepared for everything. I have to be prepared. The reason why I try to, you know my harmonic structure and play a bunch of instruments, because I'm gonna get blamed when it's cool, but I'm gonna also get blamed when it's wrong. You know,
right.
So if my trumpet player or my percussionist or my drummer or my keyboard player, I need to, and I play bass, but I need to be able to call out the wrong things to people for the artist to feel comfortable enough to trust me to bring their vision to life. You know what I'm saying? So,
which role is your favorite?
I think it all is an umbrella. It falls under the producer umbrella. So I would say production is great. MDing has afforded me the opportunity to move from the stage to the studio. But it all is a form of producing. I'm either live producing, like we said for inauguration, or I'm in the studio, you know, producing soundtracks or whatever it is, which is a lot of live instrumentation. Or it could be me, you know, when I was with Meek for like NBA All-Star, it's kind of like, he's like, yo, here's the 4 songs I want to do, put them together, tell me how it go, produce it for me, and then I'm gonna show up and kill it. You know, so like,
no sound check.
Yeah, nah, Meek goes,
no practicing. I know, I heard.
Meek goes hard, and he know his records, and he know exactly what he wanted to sound like, and you know, it's cool. So I think it all falls under the umbrella of production, which is, you know, a great thing of mine. I'm still in love with playing keys and playing bass, but like, to see the whole vision come to life is a big deal for me.
So during your illustrious career, like we just ran down, you know, what are some of the sacrifices that you had to make, you know, just with your family in order to get some of the things done that you need to get done, you know, just as far as your career wise and, you know, just to provide for your family. So like, what are some of the sacrifices you had to make to get to this point?
Man, I gotta be honest and say I try not to make any. My family comes first. You know, I've been there for the birth of both of my kids.
I love it.
That's beautiful,
you
man.
know, I know that if home ain't right, I can't even perform right. You ever, y'all, maybe you do or maybe you don't know. You ever had that lover, that boyfriend, girlfriend, and it's like they mad at you. You got that knot in your stomach. You can't even go to work. You be like, oh. I can't even play tonight. Like,
or you angry texting all day, got you all out, your energy all wrong.
Got my guitar on and I'm looking at the phone like,
you not gonna text me?
You know what I'm saying? So
you got that Keyshia Cole attitude. You just mad.
Just mad. Shout out Keyshia, man. That's the homie. But yeah, man. In all jokes aside, I try to not make too many sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? My wife is ride or die. We actually met in the industry. She sang background for Vivian Green when we met. So the great thing about having a partner in the industry is that she knows that
he gets it.
Some things that are us, I mean, I'm gonna use your word, a sacrifice, are for the betterment of our future. You know what I'm saying? And then for a very long time before our new one, I have a 5-month-old now, but before our new baby, she would travel everywhere with me. You know what I mean? I remember doing Global Citizens in South Africa. I was like, yo, my wife. You know what I'm saying? I remember doing, you know, a couple, you know, movie things. And I was like, yo, I'm bringing my wife or I'm bringing my kid or whatever. And, you know, they stay with me, man. So I try to make them a part of it. And then sidebar, she is my partner in our company, Basic Black Entertainment, BBE. So it's like, you know, they know she the pit bull in the skirt. So, you know, she's the CFO and she gets the bread. So she allows me to stay creative
Right.
If anything, she sacrificed the most, just, you know, with our children, having our children, and, you know, maybe not necessarily giving up on her singing dreams, but just putting that to the back burner for a quick second, and allowing me to stay creative. But man, being a father, you know, has changed my life. I got my oldest is 5, and then I have a 5-month-old. But even before that, man, they was rolling with me, bro. So I will say that every young, hungry musician producer is like, you know, make sure home is straight, because that even allows you to work smarter, faster, harder, stronger.
Make home straight is like what my dad, like people always say, what's the best advice your parents ever given you? And that's what it is for me. My dad always said that growing up, like, make sure home is straight. And that's something that, like, I tell my friends that, I live by that. So I think it's really dope that you said that. And I could tell, like, based on your energy or whatever, like, that's how you are. Like, this is like really dope for us to be sitting here with you. So I do have a question. So March 2020, the pandemic hit. Like, you're used to being around and doing stuff and being out and about. So the pandemic hits and they're like, okay, you can't go nowhere. What was your life like? And like, what were you doing work-wise during like the early stages of the pandemic?
Yeah, so we had just done, so my last year was lit. The early part of last year, I ain't gonna even front. God was blessing, man. I started doing the Grammys.
Yeah.
My artist Alicia Keys, she hosted the Grammys and she did a performance, so that was cool.
Wait. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you were responsible for Alicia singing all those songs that she put together?
So we put that together, and that was a lot of her, but also we did
wow,
a song called Underdog with the choir, and they came through the aisles, and so that was what I had been asked to do.
Wow.
For that. So and then, you know, Kobe had passed, so that morning, or actually the night before, we ended up calling Nate and Juan and Sean to come out with Alicia and do It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. But that was, you know, that's about being prepared, and unfortunately getting that type of call to put that together so fast was crazy. But yeah, so we had done the Grammys. The next week I did the Super Bowl with J-Lo and
Shakira, right?
The next week I did the Oscars with Eminem. He was a surprise guest. The week after that I did NBA All-Star with Common and Queen Latifah. And then I took a week off and then went to Atlanta to Tyler's supposedly was supposed to be for 2 months. I was going to be at Tyler Perry Studios doing BET Sunday Best, which is like a gospel American Idol type of show. Really, really great show. And I was in Atlanta, and I remember we had a big meeting at Tyler's, and they said, yo, we're going to shut down. You know, this virus is getting serious. We actually had somebody sick on set, not of Corona, but at that time we didn't know. When the nigga started coughing, it was just kind of like, whoa. I was like, oh, so they shut it down. And I was naive enough to think, you know, I want to say that was March 11th, something like that. I was naive enough to think I got 2 weeks off. I'm going to go chill, you know.
Right.
And here we are, you know, January. So I am very resourceful. I'm very much of a hustler, and I realized that I had a skill that a lot of people possibly didn't have, and that was me being able to record myself and record my band and stuff like that, not necessarily needing to be on stage. So right away we went into a bunch of COVID style shows. And I was getting the same calls, if I can be honest, and saying, hey, put my show together, this 1 song, this 2-song medley, whatever. You won't see the band, but send me the music. And it ended up being the same, man. I worked through the summer, through COVID, and continue to still work because of that skill that me and my squad have. to record ourselves, to continue to make it sound and feel live without you necessarily needing to see a band. So I was very, very thankful for that. And so we moved right from the stage, basically straight to the studio. This is my studio here. I'm in Delaware. You know, my drummer that I use a lot is in LA. My keyboard player I use a lot is in Texas. And we're able to just, you know, through the magic of internet, you know, just kind of keep it moving. I'll put an idea down. They may put an idea down and send it to me. I'll be like, let's try this. I don't think she's gonna like this. Let's do whatever. Boom, we get it together. I send it to the artist just like I would send if we were about to meet on the road. Because I always send out sketches and say, do you like this, before I come to you and teach it to the band. Mm-hmm. It just ends up, you eliminate that one step. We're not getting together. This is the music, and here it is. So it's been a blessing to just keep working, yo. And I do not take it for granted. A lot of people in a lot of different areas, especially music, you know, and the arts in general, have been shut down. You know, jobs are hard to come by. There are no concerts. You know, I think about our crew people who like do our setups of the stage and the lighting and sound and stuff like that, where it's like they can't do that now. You know what I'm saying? So they've been hit as well. And right. You know, it's been rough. I pray we get back to it soon. I don't really see it happening no time soon, to be honest. But
same.
You know what I mean? Like we'll see what happens. But that's what I did, man. I kind of shifted mindsets on the live tip and went, let's stay live. How can we give them this live experience, but be in the studio, be in the box, what we call in the box.
I like that. I like that somebody kept working throughout quarantine, because I feel like with us, like that's something that we always talked about amongst ourselves, that was very important to do. And to see someone in the industry, and we all saw it shutting down, to see someone still pushing through and still working, like that's amazing. And I think it speaks a lot to like your work ethic and also like your skill set.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was a blessing, bro. I saw a lot of things people get shut down, so I'm thankful.
So you've kind of name dropped a lot of people, and it's not like regular.
I ain't do that on purpose, man. I ain't
no. You just like real easily like, oh yeah, so Drake, and I was like, and so so J-Lo, and Justin Timberlake. So what is the one show that you've put together that you've been the proudest of?
So I have two. Justin Timberlake's 2020 experience, Netflix. We shot a concert movie. That was a very proud moment. But a show that I did not put together that I was a part of, I was the bass player for 2003. An artist named Sean Carter, Fade to Black, and that concert film changed my life. It really did. Questlove was the MD. My mentor, he still continues to be my MD to this day. I give all shout out to Questlove and James Poyser from Philly, and the Roots crew have just nurtured me and continue to raise me musically. And but yeah, Quest brought me on for that show. That was the Jay-Z farewell concert. His Black album was coming out. That was it. He was done. And then this little girl came out here and sang this Crazy in Love song in 2003, and then he rethought his whole damn life. You know what I'm saying? That thing will make you rethink your whole life. But those two, off the top of my head are, it's so many, Mina. I gotta be honest. I'm sliding some artists. Like 2016, we did the Bad Boy reunion tour. You know what I'm saying? That music from 92 to 96, like, introduced me to what like lyrics really meant and how to tell a story. And then, I was the big dude in high school. My homeboy Dan Dilemma Thomas. I don't know if y'all know Dilemma.
Yes.
We was big in Puff, like in high school. So it's like, to get to work with Puff and play some big music and all of that in 2016, that's 20 years later from where he impacted me. And I'm dancing around, more money, more problems, and all of that. And I got to put that together. That was a big deal for me as well. And then one of the other globally impactful shows from that I did not realize at the time had such a musical impact was Kanye Glow in the Dark tour. And I think that was one of the starts where artists specifically started being way involved in the creative of the stage and the lights and stuff, as opposed to just going up there and singing or going up there and rapping. Like, the man Kanye had a spaceship on stage and robots and stuff, and he had us in uniform, wardrobe, whatever, you know. So I hadn't seen anything like that at the time, and now it becomes a little more regular now, where it's like a show for people. You know what I'm saying?
So, do you think Kanye changed the game in that way?
Yes, hands down. Yes. I think Kanye was not afraid to own his own vision, as opposed to a lot of artists sometimes had let the label or a creative director or whatever just say, yo, you know, when I hear your music, this is what I see. But Kanye said, when I made my music, this is what I saw. You know what I'm saying? And even if you don't see that, this is still what I want. And I do think Ye had a very big part in changing the game. Now, there's some other artists, real talk, you know, Kylie Minogue, she was Madonna, you know, Janet, they've been real big at having that visual show thing going on too. But for a Black hip hop artist specifically to have a storyline weaving in and through his show, and it was almost like theater when we did Glow in the Dark. It was almost like theater, and people, that was 05, 06. So I don't really know if like cell phone videos were super big, but I just remember people like paying attention for lack of a better term, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like now, like these young cats, man, they miss the moment. You know what I'm saying? The Baby is so dope. You know what I'm saying? Cardi is so dope, and Cole is so dope. Kendrick, but it's like you got your phone out
entire time,
the whole time. You really being able, it's like, you know, so
you don't want to miss the moment. You want to capture it so you can see it again.
No, you're never gonna watch it again.
You're never gonna watch it again, Mina. Don't stick up for them. Don't do that. I just think there's a, you know, there when you go to that concert, that is the moment. And I think what I'm trying to say is Kanye, you know, along with the Michaels and the Madonnas, like I said, but they made that thing a moment where it was like, I want to be here. I want to be present. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I do think Ye changed the game in that respect for sure. And I was blessed to be a part of that. It's so those concerts just off the top of my head, you know, Justin, Puff, Jay, and Ye.
Sheesh.
So I always, I swear, I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I go to, before when the world was normal, I would go to concerts like literally every week. I would be at a different concert, and people would always say to me like, "What's your favorite concert?" And I would always be like, "Well, you know, the Ashanti and Ja Rule. That's number one because I'm, you know, those are my people."
Okay.
But honestly, like the best concert I've ever been to in my life was the 2016 Bad Boy reunion concert at the Wells Fargo Center. Everything about that concert, from Diddy and French Montana's Coats, to the fact that you see Toto out there in the stage, to Faith Evans, to the that
was one of the joints, man. It's an undeniable roller coaster of emotion when you listen to the music. Philly, I think DMX came out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Lost my voice when I didn't know you were a part of that, but the fact that I now know that you were a part of that is just like I thought you were incredible before. Like when Mina first mentioned you, I did my research and everything. I'm like, he's incredible. But now, like knowing that you were part of literally my favorite concert of all time, I think you're like,
thank you, brother. And that was epic for me. Yeah, I mean, it was big. I've had some great moments, man, but those ring it for me. Another life-changing moment, I gotta just be straight up, is that, you know, me being an East Coast boy, I've been working. Amir Questlove passed the Eminem gig to me around 2009, so that was incredible. And I continue to work with Marshall. He's such a great artist, and top 5 easy, arguably. But 2012, because of me working with Marshall from 2009, I got a call to do Dr. Dre for Coachella. And so me being the East Coast boy, that was a big deal in our nation, in our music nation. And
wow.
So, doing Dre and Snoop for Coachella was a big deal as well. I don't think that gets enough pub that show should. That's when the Tupac hologram happened. So
there's so much that you're a part of that I didn't even know. I've lived through these things, and I didn't even know you were a part of it. I'm gonna start calling you when stuff happens, and I'm gonna be like, are you a part of this?
That's so funny. I'm definitely I have a lot of numbers in my phone that are not saved, and it'll just the thread will be like, yo, so can you give me tickets to the like, who this?
That's amazing.
I do have one more question for you. So I know that you are a part of the Super Bowl. You're curating the national anthem with Jazmine Sullivan.
Yeah. Shout out Jazmine Sullivan, Philly.
Yes.
Shout out my boy Eric Church too. He's gonna be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. Currently, you're wearing the Eagles jersey, and we know the Eagles are not in the Super Bowl. So, like, because you're a part of the Super Bowl now, and like, who are you rooting for now? Like,
rooting for Jazmine Sullivan.
Jazmine and Eric.
Yeah.
You're not even going for Andy Reid, bro? The Chiefs?
So I was at the Super Bowl last year. Andy won. I was very happy. Now Shady is on the Chiefs this year. Did y'all know LaShawn McCoy?
Mm-hmm, I do.
I think it's some. I hate Tom Brady.
I'm with you.
Right? I think it's something super duper dope and special that the first time ever in the 55 Super Bowls, the home team is there. It happens to be Brady the year he left the Patriots. So I'm like a little bit like he's already the GOAT. Unfortunately, my Eagles beat him in 2017. It was I cried. It was one of the best. But I think it's something very special, man, about him going out like that, honestly. And I think that's we've been talking about moments in history and time on this whole call, on this Zoom. So it's like, that's big, but that's just big for sports. You know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady, and I hope if he wins, I hope he does retire.
He's not. He's not. Why would you?
Let somebody else a chance. Give somebody else a chance.
That's like telling, Adam, oh, you've done all the top artists. Let someone else do it. What? Yeah, I'm like A1 in my league. You gonna tell me to stop?
There's a big difference though. Now let me tell you something. Something about going out on top. You know what I'm saying? That if he were to win, there is nothing else he needs to do. I think one of the things that he's trying to, this is my personal opinion, he wanted to prove that he didn't need his old
Bill Belichick, right?
So if he were to win, it's like come back and win your 8th ring, like that actually is like now it's like for what?
Because the hater in me is gonna say, well, Gronkowski's still there, so you still had a piece of him. Like I'm always gonna hate. Like I'm always gonna.
Nah, man, that boy Tom is good. I hate him.
He's amazing.
He's so good. He's so good. I hate him.
He wants to be the quarterback with the most Super Bowls.
I think he is.
He got 6 right now, right?
He got 10 appearances.
10 appearances and 6 wins.
6 wins. Who else got 6?
Is it 6?
And then so he got that already.
Young got 3, Montana got 2, 3, Elway got 1.
Yep.
2. I mean,
maybe so the most Super Bowl with 2 different teams. He still got it already.
Like that's the case. He can come play for Philly next year.
Right.
Adam,
I saw that you work on The Masked Singer. That's my show, first of all. Like, what did you do on The Masked Singer?
So season 2, I'm no longer part of it now. In a weird way, I had to choose last year's Super Bowl or Masked Singer season 3.
Wow.
I went with the Super Bowl, with a little coercion from the
Jay-Z?
Yeah, the Carters, I was going to say.
Jay-Z.
But I worked on season 2. It was an amazing experience. I have to say, it was one of the toughest jobs I had ever done because
really?
You don't see a band, but you hear the music. And it's a lot of music. As you know, Mina, if you like that show, you see,
I love it.
From 10 to 14 artists each week performing different songs. I have to then prepare different versions for them depending on when they go into the show. They used to do a thing, Mina, if you remember, called the battle round at the end. We don't do that anymore, but I had to prepare each artist's battle song, which was a whole separate song. So I almost had a nervous breakdown doing that show. But I will say, everything that you do prepares you for the next thing. That was one of the shows during our regular Life of the World Open where I didn't have a band, so I had to record. I had to pre-record. Fast forward 8 months later, we're in COVID, and I'm doing the same style, not the same music arrangement, but the same style of music for every other artist because there is no band and you can't, be on stage and stuff like that. So that is in a very weird way prepared me for where we're at now musically anyway. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was in charge of doing every time they sang, that was me. That was my music for season 2. That was my music.
Wow.
And Wayne Brady won that year. But there was some phenomenal guests and some phenomenal talent and just great people. Adrian Bailon was on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the Flamingo.
My girl, me and her still talk. Raven Simone is like, she was Black Widow, so that's like me and her have developed this amazing friendship, and I actually produced some records for her after that. Victor Oladipo was on there. I'm a basketball fanatic, so him being there was like a big deal for me. Just so many people. There was a couple people from SNL cast. Patti LaBelle was on there. So we had our Philly connection going as well. So that show is awesome. I wish them nothing but success and love, and those are my peeps.
Season 2 I didn't know you worked on The Masked Singer, but season 2 of The Masked Singer was my favorite season. And like Wayne Brady, who won, is like one of my idols too. And he performed like a song to Every Little Step I Take. And like I learned that choreography to do it at my wedding. So like I just
you got a lot of like the stories come back.
Yeah, he just story time, Dexter.
You got random Dex. That's
right. Garnett, you got a question?
I was just honestly just going to make sure that he said Jay-Z's name because he tried not to. He said the Carters earlier. So that's why when I said, I was just going to reiterate that. He was trying not to say it. But now that I am here, I'll say this. It really seemed like you built a lot of your career not just off of talent, but off of networking. If you had any advice, for up and coming people, or even just New Jersey artists, because it's very hard to make it from where we come from. Do you have any advice on how to leverage, I guess, your network to put you in position to do all these great things?
That's a great question, Mina. Real quick, we live on Facebook?
Yes.
All right, cool. Some people are hitting me. I'm just making sure I can drive them to your page.
Yep. I'm on. It's the Mina's House podcast page though, and then I share it to my own page.
All right, bet. I'm gonna just let them know right now.
Look at you promoting on the spot. Okay, Adam. Who needs a PR person?
So really, it's all about following your dreams. I know that sounds so freaking cliche, but it's, if you can think about it, if you see yourself doing it, you can do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. Like I mentioned before, I didn't grow up in a social media age, and so for the young people now, it's the best thing. I never got a chance to DM Puff or like to DM Mina or you know what I'm saying? Like
you wouldn't be DMing me. I would be DMing you.
Nah. I'm saying like, to get to the radio. How about let's just be honest. Like to get to, Kobe, or to get to, what I'm saying, like Pooch, man, like what I'm saying, like back in the day, or any, Steve Harvey, and anybody, like Tom Joyner, like we wouldn't be able to, no matter what you're trying to do, it wouldn't be as accessible as it is now. And then I look at kids hitting me up like, yo, I listen to you and this is what I do, and they almost doing me better than me because they done studied me and all of that. So it's like, I really would just say follow your dreams, man. Like all things are possible. No, KNOW, that a no, N-O, does not define who you are. You know what I'm saying? So please know that a no does not define who you are. Keep going. Use that no as motivation. Just know it's not your time, and just keep pushing. I would totally say travel when you can. And I know that sounds so stupid. I just sound like a doofus right now saying travel during this COVID.
Jericho.
but I that helped open my eyes to a whole nother culture, a whole nother genre of music when I went overseas, and it helped me meet people that were producing that kind of music, and I got into it and wanted to infuse those styles into what I was doing. So, when the world opens back up, don't be afraid to travel and just meet people and network. I read a story on the dude Ant Clemens that we were just talking about. Like he just went to LA in 2016. Now he got the number. He just broke the record for the song. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's writing with her music and Ty Dolla and Justin Timberlake and all these people, and he just followed his dreams. Said he was working at Red Lobster or something and just like writing every day and just popping up at the studio. So I was that guy as well in a different way. But, when I moved to Philly, I just would sit in the lobby of studios, just ready to play bass, ready to play keys, drums, anything, ready to get a coffee, whatever they was going to ask me to do, just to be in the mix. And I got my big break when like somebody didn't show up and, they asked me to come in the studio and play, and I was terrible. And they say, okay, we're not going to use that. But that helped me fuel me like, okay, now I know what people are looking for once I am able to even walk in the door. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, you just got to stay persistent. The other thing that I would say is conquer your town first. You know what I'm saying? Social media may have one drawback in thinking that it's sweet on the outside or it's easy to do stuff that people are doing. But the reason why I was able to build up a little bit of buzz early was because I was trying to do as much as I could in New Jersey and Philadelphia. And then it was like, oh, that's Adam. Yeah, I just saw him at that restaurant playing, or I just saw him at the theater playing, or I just saw him at that church playing. You know what I mean? So I just saw him at the club, the 5 spot, whatever. So it was like I was trying to do everything I could around the town so that when whoever got that first opportunity, whether it was me or my homeboy or they knew somebody that knew somebody, I was in the mix. So just be in the mix.
All right. Well, thank you, Adam. This is so incredible, and you're such a talent. And I hope that your PR person, makes you a household name, because
bless you.
You're incredible. People need to know who you are.
Thank you so much for reaching out, Mina. I appreciate you and the crew, and anything y'all need from me, man, I got y'all back for sure.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
Adam Blackstone, ladies and gentlemen. Basically amazing, extraordinary person. So we ran really long. So thank you guys for watching and listening. We will talk to you next week. It's the 162nd episode of the Mina's House podcast. I'm Mina SayWhat.
Garnett, Briscoe.
Stuckey.
All right. Bye, guys.